everyone. Continuing this weekend of commemorating and acknowledging the contributions of the great musicians who have just left us last week. Today it is about Ozzy Osbourne. Yesterday, of course, was my first time hearing George Kooymans and the Earrings Band. Now, with Ozzy Osbourne, I actually already am in a tiny bit familiar because I have heard Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne in this journey already, quite a while back. So, the song chosen for today was actually chosen by the Virgin Rock community in the Patreon community poll, and that is Paranoid, which I understand is widely regarded as one of the greatest heavy metal songs of all time. And in fact, in terms of Ozzy Osbourne's contribution to the music world, one of my followers just wrote today and said he was the one who inspired me to pick up the guitar and start learning to play guitar. So this song I'm looking forward to hearing, and it's going to be a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, who died Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I kind of like this, shall I say, heavy metal version of the banjo fiddle twang. Doing, doing, doing. It kind of already makes me feel like there's a little bit of, perhaps just a hint of tongue-in-cheek in this performance. Well, I don't know, but that's how it made me feel. First off, a bit of fun with it. Here. Doing, 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 doing.
Finished with my woman, 'cause she couldn't help me with my mind. People think I'm insane because I am frowning over time. All day long I think of things, but nothing seems to satisfy. Think I'll lose my.
You know what's so funny is the fact that I have heard and been aware of Black Sabbath for quite some time now, but this is my first time watching them perform. And it's so weird to have heard voices and you kind of build up an image of the singer in your mind. And I'm just now looking and realizing, oh, okay, that's what he looks like. That's how he's performing. It's just a strange part of this whole journey that I have been on, where my first time listening to a group, a band, an artist is usually only with the sound. And now as I'm coming back to some of these bands, I am watching some of the performances as well, because it's part of the experience. It's part of the whole art form. But still, sometimes I have these strange moments of, really? I guess this is one of them.
Think of things, but nothing seems to satisfy. Think I'll lose my mind if I don't find something to pacify. Can you help me? Not you from my brain. Oh
So we kind of
I need someone to show me the things in life that I can't find. I can't see.
And one of the things, so first of all, this little as I called it, the banjo fiddle twang, seems to have disappeared in this part of the music. But listening to the instruments, the voice, and all, one of the things that's happening here is the voice is really presenting its lines in a very marked, emphatic, I might even say, if I'm going to use classical terminology, we would say marcato. The idea, which is basically Italian for marked, in a marked style, where every single note is given emphasis. You can see it, but you can also hear it. But if you're not sure what I'm talking about, notice how he's bumping his head on every single note. Bum, 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 bum. Now try to sing. Just do this little exercise for a minute for me. Try to sing smoothly. Okay? Da 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 da. Okay, that's smooth legato. That's a nice gentle connected way of singing. Now, don't change anything with the way your voice is doing. Simply bump your head on every note. Da 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 da. Now try to sing smoothly while you're bumping your head. It doesn't work. Da. You just can't make it work. Because what you're doing physically has a massive impact on the physical production of sound, whether it's an instrument or a voice, but especially with the voice, because with the voice, it's so linked to your physical self. It is your physical self, right? So you can see visually what you are hearing. But now close your eyes and listen to what is being sung, and notice how every single syllable is given such emphasis, such weight, even though it's not a low pitch, right? We're not talking about pitch here. We're not talking about percussiveness either, because this is a voice. This is not drums or piano or something like that. This is the way each note is being handled, each syllable. Just close your eyes and listen to this for a minute. We'll back up just a little bit because I don't know what's coming next, but I know that this is a great little exploratory moment here. Okay, coming up here. You hear it, don't you? It's a sort of, it's almost as if he's talking to you in a way that perhaps he's trying to get his message across. You're not understanding what he's saying. And when somebody doesn't understand what we're saying, our tendency is to slow down and emphasize and make our point and say, I am trying to get you to understand this. You know, it's that kind, but it's in the voice, which, why am I making such a big deal about this? Well, because this song has a particular message. Well, I started out saying that little twangy introduction almost makes me think there's an element of tongue-in-cheek, although I am not convinced of that yet, but that was my first thought. It had some sort of feeling of humorousness to it. Now, as I'm listening to when the voice enters, this labored emphasis that's being applied makes me feel more like whatever is being communicated is something that is incredibly important and I am perhaps not really getting it. In other words, they're making the effort to get me to somehow get it into my thick head that this is a serious matter, that this is important, that this is something that I really need to understand. And so these two different impressions that I get so far throughout this music come from these specific musical elements and how they're being applied in the performance, in the piece of music. So I'm going to continue now and see what comes next. How does this add to my impression of what is this song saying? You know, it's interesting listening to that guitar solo. I go back to this sort of fiddle music, fast finger feel, even the musical style. If you take away the heavy chug 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 chug, you could say it's kind of almost bluegrass fiddle feel, isn't it? What a contrast to the voice. And one of the things that is I don't know if this is perhaps a need, because it's really quite a challenging thing to do. But if you hear him singing, and you're listening to just the voice, and then you listen to the instruments of the band around him and the beat that they are providing, you will notice that the voice is not quite lining up with the beats. That's incredibly hard to do, really hard to do, because the beats are so compelling. Try to sing this. Try to imagine singing this without him there to guide you. And you will find yourself wanting to land right on the places where the guitar is pulsing or the drums are beating. Right? But he's not. He's gliding separately from it. So what he's doing is he is presenting something kind of separate from the band, and at the same time coordinated with the band. And he is making sure that we hear that separation, that difference in the rhythmic element, by this emphasizing of the beat that he's doing, of his this emphasizing of each syllable as he's singing. You notice how sometimes he speeds up a bit and sometimes he slows down a bit, but the band underneath is consistent. It's really challenging to do. And to be precise about it. Whoa, okay, that's the end already. All right, that was a bit of a surprise. Let me just back up a little bit there because I was talking as it was going. I was expecting it to go a bit further.
These words telling you now on my state. I tell you to enjoy life. I wish I could, but too late.
And that's it. So this is a piece that has something to say and says it, gets straight to the point, doesn't waste time about it, and as soon as it says what it needs to say, it's out. That's it. Done. They have been very careful to not drag it out and turn it into a big, showy, dramatic type of presentation. It's all about staying focused. I guess I would say, somehow I feel like focused is a really good way of describing this piece. It is focused. Now, these other ideas that came to me as I was listening to it, is it tongue-in-cheek? I tend to kind of back away from that now after hearing the whole piece. There may be an element of that in here. You could say so if you wish, but I don't think that humor is necessarily the first thing that is communicated in this piece of music. It is more of a serious piece. There is a feeling of urgency, of sincerity, of seriousness. People think I'm insane because I'm frowning all the time. All day long I think of things, but nothing seems to satisfy. I think I'll lose my mind if I don't find something to pacify. This sense of I am in trouble. I cannot, well, later, I need someone to show me the things in life that I can't find. I can't see the things that make true happiness. I must be blind. And then make a joke and I will sigh, and you will laugh and I will cry. So this is somebody, this is communicating, and this is kind of the seriousness of it, that this is communicating and conveying a message of, I'm really in a dark place. I cannot find happiness. I cannot feel any happiness. In fact, it says, happiness I cannot feel, and love to me is so unreal. And so I feel like the seriousness of that message, the sincerity of that, is what is being communicated more strongly through this music than perhaps a humorous side of it. Even though it first struck me at the beginning, and it was interesting after those first little bits at the beginning. I didn't hear that style applied throughout the piece. So it was more something to catch you and make you sit up and say, "Oh, what's coming next?" And then we launch into this chuk 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 chuk, and the emphatic delivery, vocal delivery, clean, clear, strong, and sincere. It sounds, it comes across as a very sincere presentation. Well, as far as the appropriateness of this song, I guess I am speaking to those of you who voted for this week. That is that the last two lines of the song feel incredibly appropriate, considering that this is in commemoration of Ozzy after his death now. And so, as you hear these words telling you now of my state, I tell you to enjoy life. I wish I could, but it's too late. How incredibly appropriate for the moment. And a message from Ozzy to all of us. Enjoy life while we can. because the time will come when it's too late. I I shouldn't be laughing, but somehow I feel like that's a beautiful message. It's a message that it's beautiful that it's coming from Ozzy to us now in this moment, saying, okay, maybe you're feeling the loss of things, maybe you're feeling sad about the fact that he's gone, but carry on, and enjoy the richness that life has to give, even now, because the time will come when it's too late. When that time comes, then you can be sad. So, a very, as I said, compelling and sincere piece of music to listen to, and one that I enjoyed. It's interesting to me that I was able to appreciate this more easily than the first time I heard Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. Well, you can find that experience here on the channel if you wish. There's a link here. My first time ever hearing Black Sabbath. It was a real challenge for me, but one that was worthy of my time. And now coming back around to them, I have to say that I still appreciate them and their music. So that is it for this weekend and the acknowledgements and commemorations of the great musicians who've left us in the recent days. And I'm sure there will be more, because it just happens to be that rock music has been around long enough. We lose them as time progresses, but there are always more coming along, and I'm looking forward to continuing this journey with all of you. I'll see you soon.